the president, try though that he might, it's his tariffs and his unstable and inconsistent messaging that has even his supporters unsure if there's a light at the end of this tunnel.
And I think the only thing that is shocking, even for those of us who were paying attention, is the comprehensiveness and rapidity with which the United States government and American democracy are being dismantled. I completely understand why people would feel demoralized or hopeless or exhausted or tapped out. But I think it's important to remember that that's exactly what Donald and the Trump regime want. Their onslaught is purposeful. And one of the goals of it is to render those of us who are still in the fight kind of inoperative in some ways. We cannot allow that to happen.
It's the Mary Trump story about someone dumping mashed potatoes on his head. He hates to be laughed at. I'm just trying to unravel whatever the hell that is every time they have a cabinet meeting and they go around the table and just mooch and motorboat away. It's just unbelievable.
Kim Jong-un, like
happening.
A half an hour in, is like, "Are you kidding
really?"
me?
Yeah.
This went on 3 hours, and this is all it is. It's just them, for 3 hours. They're not like, and it's all imaginary accomplishments, right? It's like when you solved the war between Narnia and Wakanda, sir.
That's right. He will soon
the Noble Committee.
Jetpacks made of beef.
Yep.
When you got everyone in America jetpacks made of beef, sir.
Yeah. And he'll win the Nobel Prize, the noblest of Nobel prizes.
The noblest.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, Bob.
What kind of fiction are we living in?
I mean,
my God.
Meanwhile, back here on Earth One, Brendan said, in my view, Trump may already be entirely medically and cognitively checked out, and the U.S. presidency has been fully taken over by Stephen Miller. He is enacting a carbon copy of Putin's takeover of Russia in the early 2000s. Look it up. There's practically no difference. I mean, we've been talking about it. You've been talking about it. Oh my God. Yeah. He is literally decaying from the inside out. And it's,
he really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm expecting that hand to just crumble away like he's got leprosy or something. It's really super gross. And the less time I have to spend on thinking about Donald Trump's hand, the happier I will be, because it is just utterly disgusting. So, I'm rooting for something to happen, but I can't really say, I'm not at liberty to say what that thing is. Well, but you know what? We can just say things like that, and everyone knows what we're talking about.
There's a reason everybody from J.D. Vance on down has compared him to Hitler. I think he is an evil, malign character in this world that you can't, there is no, like... I mean, you can't even pretend like, I'll be sad for a second.
Right.
I think that...
Right. And it's compounded, Stephanie, by Stephen Miller. It's like Donald already has these horrible instincts, and then Stephen Miller enables everything that's coming out of Donald's mouth, the worst possible things. And we know what makes Stephen Miller...
Yeah, he just called Democrats a terrorist organization yesterday.
A domestic extremist organization. Yeah. Yes, because that's what he has always done. When he was 17 years old, sitting on a bus, videotaping himself, his whole thing was talking about how, just trying to own the libs. His whole thing is antagonism. Yeah. That's his entire shtick. Yeah. And so this is not based on policy. None of what's happening right now is based on improving the United States. It's based on antagonizing everyone who isn't MAGA. Yeah. And then by proxy also securing that 35% support base so that Donald and his poll numbers can't go any lower than that.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. As long as he's got that base confirmed and in his corner, that's as low as he's going to go.
Yeah. And Bob, I think it's because it's in the light of the whole, like, Joe Biden's old and he's not going to survive, and this is why we are where we are. That's why this whole, like, Trump obvious medical, and mental whatever is happening, and the mainstream press basically just ignoring it is such a big deal. I mean, there's just people checking in that have, Shauna said, as someone who's seen a family member die of congestive heart failure, it's fascinating to me that Donald Trump clearly has it, slowly dying right in front of our eyes, and yet the national press hasn't covered it. Increasingly puffy face, whose right eye can now barely keep open, thickened ankles that have ballooned in the past 10 months, swollen hands, now often covered in makeup to cover contusions. The national press is supposed to follow the body, and they can't even seem to do that. I mean, the fact that he's quite obviously trying to hide his hands from the camera, that they're
Yeah.
story after story about them trying to hide his ankles, right? And we're
Right.
still in the middle of there was a cover up for Biden.
Right.
Seriously.
And bonus points to Governor Walz for just going right for the
Yeah.
jugular, right? Going right for the. He said, I mean, he literally said fat ankles
Yes.
in his remarks the other day. I mean, it's just like, oh my God, that's where we are right now. But that's, I think, helping all of us to realize, oh yes, we're seeing what we're seeing. We're not being gaslit anymore, and that's a nice feeling. But God, the cover up of Donald's health condition is also, I think, a major story. I mean, granted, he's at that age where things start to go wrong, so it's completely expected. But on the other hand, it's the cover up. And they've always done this from day one, from 2015 on. Donald has always lied about his health condition.
We've never seen an actual medical record, Bob. Not even after the quote unquote assassination attempt. I mean, it's just.
Well, the other thing is that I think the deception that Donald is able to pull off is the fact that he's always had this motor mouth. He's always been able to say a lot of words, but none of those words are making less and less sense as time goes on.
Yeah.
But I think the press is under the misapprehension that because he's still kind of a motor mouth, even though it's more and more gibberish as time goes on, that, well, that's okay. That's fine. And when Joe Biden, in his cadence of speech, was slowing down, they automatically jumped on that and assumed that he had or he's suffering cognitive decline or whatever Jake Tapper was writing about.
Yeah.
So I think there's a level of deception there too, and it may be some self-deception because clearly Donald is declining day by day. We can all see it.
Someone was saying, I mean, because you can see him side by side with all these world leaders that we know what their actual height is and all that stuff. And it's like someone said, it's not a big deal that he's 5'10" and 300 pounds. It's a big deal that he has to tell you he's 6'3" and one. What does
280
he say?
or something. Or
180?
230. I think he says 230.
I mean,
just the very act of lying about his medical condition indicates that there is something to lie about.
Right.
That's the thing. That's the sort of the elephant in the room here. The reason he had to dictate to Dr. Bornstein in 2016 his medical letter for the press indicates that there was something to cover up. And the question is, what is that thing?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if we're going to make a big deal about Joe Biden's staff keeping the press away from the Oval or whatever, or making sure that they're not seeing what's going on behind the scenes, even though all indications showed that Joe Biden was fully engaged with all the things that are required to be president, the fact is that the same sort of thing is happening with Donald's health. And while they're sticking him in front of the camera, it's not indicative of someone who is a healthy person.
Yeah.
Just because he's out front doesn't mean he's automatically healthy. He's very rapidly declining, both in terms of his cognitive abilities and his physical health.